BOXEO.com, ringpostcard.pl. What can I say? First things first, congratulations, because Mr. Bob Aaron said that you will be commentating the ESPN fights. You're going to have your own little table. You'll be doing a lot of things for these boxing events.
Yeah, I'm doing boxing for ESPN now. That's correct.
Beautiful. How do you see this fight going down with Crawford and Khan?
I think Terence Crawford is properly favored in this fight because he'd be favored against, I believe, anyone in the welterweight division, including the top welterweights in the world. And that Amir Khan is a, when you're the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, you're not going to get matchups that are considered 50-50 type of fights. Because first of all, you couldn't make that matchup every fight out anyway, even if you had the ability to, nor would you necessarily want to. But Amir Khan is the best available big-name opponent with whom Terence Crawford can make an event. If you followed Amir Khan's career, you know he always shows up to fight, sometimes too much for his own good. He's very talented, bit chinny, which means he can be caught on the chin, because anyone who gets caught on the button, is going to have an issue. And Crawford is favored for a reason. But I expect that we get an entertaining fight, which especially early in the fight is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
When there was so many talks with all these, platforms, these new platforms out there talking about pay-per-view will be dead, and now ESPN coming back on pay-per-view after all these years, I think it's a great step in stone.
The history of broadcast in the United States, at least, has been whenever there's been expansion, they fill it with boxing, where boxing fills some of the supplies, some of the product. So, for example, when the advent of radio, there's boxing all over the radio. There's time to fill. Boxing's relatively inexpensive to produce compared to the rating it generates and the revenue it can generate. And so when TV, at the advent of television, boxing was everywhere. Then cable TV, there was a lot of boxing. Then premium pay cable, a lot of boxing. They used it to drive subscriptions. Direct to consumer now, a lot of boxing. So we are now seeing a situation in even just the English-speaking Western Hemisphere. When you look at the total dollars in the sport, before you talk about ticket sales and increased gambling revenue in places like Las Vegas or anything like that, advertising, when you just talk about the money invested by companies for broadcast rights, boxing, it now has, just in the English-speaking Western Hemisphere, over $300 million annually in the sport. It's never been that way before, so it's in good shape.
Well, all these platforms that are out there, the Zone and everything else out there, you see it as a good thing for boxing, or is it a negative thing for boxing?
Time will tell. It's always good when the more interest there is in boxing, the more money there is in boxing, the more fights there are, the better. And time will tell if these kind of silos where certain fighters and certain promoters with certain networks can be overcome when the time is right, when big fights are there to be made, or whether it keeps things segregated in such a way that it doesn't serve boxing fans. Time will tell.
Max, with the youth, last one.
Yeah, last one.
With the youth, with the boxing, you've been in this game for so many years. What can we do for the youth to bring them into the boxing? Let them start training and stuff like that.
The main thing about boxing is, like any sport, we tell stories. That's how we sell the sport. That's how people get interested in anything. Even science, is a story. Just what story describes the world best that can make the best predictions. That's science. The stories we tell in sports are only as interesting as the characters are compelling and the obstacles are big, right? So if we do a good job of telling the stories of the characters involved, the fighters, and there are good fights where the characters you're invested in emotionally have big obstacles to overcome in each other, boxing will be fun.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.